Hello friends, I am Gnandar Sidhu. This episode is in continuation of my previous episode, which was about the introduction of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. This episode is about first 4 Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. These Yoga Sutras, they contain the true sense of religion, and they have capacity to transform any one of us into a godliness. They can actually make us experience what is true bliss. First Yoga Sutra of Patanjali is At Yoga Anushasanam, which means that it is the beginning of the discipline of yoga. Now here, in order to understand the word discipline, we have to see that the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, they are divided into 4 parts. Actually, it is a journey from one point to the final destination. And the first point, the beginning, the alpha, is Samadhi path. From Samadhi path, we have to undertake a discipline that will take us to the destination, which is Kaivalya path. Kaivalya means when one has attained oneness, which means that one has become one with everything. That is oneness. Second Yoga Sutra of Patanjali is actually the crux point of the whole sutras. This sutra is Yog Chit Vritti Nirodh. As I've discussed in the previous episode, that Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, they are dots, very precise, they are telegraphic, but they contain very sublime, higher kind of meanings. According to me, anyone who can practice this Yoga Sutra is a truly enlightened person. This is the importance of this Yoga Sutra. This Yoga Sutra simply says that the yoga is Chit Vritti Nirodh, which means that Chit means consciousness. Vritti means all the turbulences, whirlpools in our consciousness that is related to our emotional upheavals or thinking, overthinking. And Nirodh is the end of that thing. So according to this sutra, yoga is to have the consciousness which is free from all turbulences. While explaining this Yoga Sutra, Swami Vivekananda, he takes the example of a lake. He says that the surface, the bottom surface of the lake is our chit. And vrittis are the waves, turbulences in the lake. He says that whenever there are turbulences, waves, we can't see the surface. In this way, when we are lost in our thoughts, emotions, then we can't reach at our pure consciousness. And Osho takes the example of sky and clouds. He says that our pure consciousness is like a very bright sky, but our vrittis, they are like clouds. And whenever there are clouds or storms, we cannot see the sky. In this manner, when we are lost in our vrittis, turbulences, we can't reach at our pure consciousness. But it is the fact of the life that these vrittis, these turbulences, they are bound to come. We are bound to think, we are bound to face emotional upheavals. But according to Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, the problem is that not that they are bound to come. The problem is of our identification with these turbulences. The 4th Yoga Sutra of Patanjali is Vritti Sarupyam Itrata. It means that the problem is that when we identify ourselves with those vrittis. According to higher realms of spirituality, our thoughts, our emotions, they are not ours. They come and they go. Rumi says that our emotions, our thoughts, they are like the guests. Just let them come and let them go. Don't cling. Actually, I discussed 2nd Yoga Sutra along with the 4th Yoga Sutra by missing the 3rd Yoga Sutra. Because for me, the second and fourth are interconnected. And when we read them together, then we understand that the vrittis, the turbulences in our consciousness, are not actually the problem. The problem is our identification with those turbulences. When we start possessing them, it is the beginning of problem. When we say that it is my thought, it is my emotion, then the problem arises. Otherwise, these emotions, thought, they come and they go. Sahar Ludhianvi, in a very famous song of Kabhi Kabhi, he says that Kabhi Kabhi mere dil mein khayal aata hai. It means that sometimes a thought comes to me. Even he is saying that thought comes from somewhere and it has just reached me. It is not my thought. It has come. The third Yoga Sutra is about the bliss that one attains when one attains the state of second Sutra. That is Yog Chit Vritti Nirodh. When one is free from the turbulences, then what happens? Yada Drashte, Savrup Avasthanam. It means that the person attains stability. He gets settled within himself or herself. He gets a seat within himself or herself. B.K.S. Iyengar, he while explaining asanas, he says that there are two things. One is pose and second is repose. Pose is to attain a particular physical shape. And repose is to get settled into that asana or in that pose. And this third Yoga Sutra is about that when one attains Chit Vritti Nirodh, then one becomes seated, totally centered within oneself. And from that repose, from that centeredness, one can begin the journey towards Kevalya, towards oneness. Because from that point onwards, the person will have only one concentration and only one focus. That is very much required to take us to the state of oneness. This state of centeredness or of reposing, that brings the bliss what Kabir calls in his very famous poem Yugan Yugan Hum Yogi. Kabir says that अपनी मदी में आप मैं डोलूं खेलूं मैं सहज से अच्छा. It means that Kabir is saying that while sitting in my hut, I rejoice within myself and I play within myself as per my own willingness. This is the centeredness. Even I am practicing these Yoga Sutras, though I have not attained the final destination of these Yoga Sutras, but even their glimpses, they are wonderful, they are magical. Actually, the most benefiting thing is that when we become a witness of our emotions, of our thought, then these emotions, these thoughts, they lose their all power. They can't then dominate over us. We suffer only when we get identified with these emotions, these turbulences. That is why I call Patanjali's Yoga Sutras as phenomenal, because they begin by giving us a tool to attain enlightenment. I remember that Vadali brothers, while singing the Sufi Kalam, they say that जब काबल मुर्शिद मिलता है तो बात खुदा से शुरू होती है. Which means that when a true teacher arrives, then the talks begin from the godliness. So in this way, the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, they are the true teachers. And when we hold them, then the talk begins from the godliness. With these words, I conclude this episode here. Thank you.